I am Daniel Lucas and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's the CEO of a high profile global, a powerful voice for women, leadership, and reinvention. No other than Miss Natalini Joy. Welcome to Book
Hello,
101, Miss
hello,
Natalini.
Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Natalini. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
It's a pleasure to be here. Very nice to meet you all. My name is Natalini. I was the CEO of a very reputable nonprofit organization, spent about 10 years in the space of philanthropy and charitable work. 2 years ago, I embarked on a very profound inner journey, personal journey, and truly transformed myself, my life. I changed my name. I changed a lot of things about the way I am. And today I feel like I am so much closer to the true, authentic version of me. I got in touch with the creative side of me. I create now shows and performances, and I build communities, and I bring people together and help everyone connect to themselves, to each other, and get into this energy of joy and excitement.
Miss Natalini Joy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So let's talk about steps to living an authentic life. What does it truly mean to live an authentic life?
To me, what it truly means to live an authentic life is to be on a mission of forever searching for yourself. I feel like that's a never ending journey, and it's like the thread that weaves throughout our entire life. And the deeper we go, the more we discover, and the deeper we go, the more authentic we become. Um, there is so many things that stand in the way between the way we present ourselves and the person that we truly are. And most of the times these things are related to early childhood trauma, societal pressures, things that others expect of us, and our sort of desire and need to belong and to fit in and to be what other people expect us to be. And for me, my sort of portal to authenticity was really to go all the way back to my childhood and all the things that were making me inauthentic, which were ways in which I survived when I was a kid, but were no longer serving me when I'm an adult. And really let go of all of these old stories and old beliefs and old traumas that were really affecting my behavior as an adult. And once I did that, I was able to discover my actual natural self, the self that couldn't develop when I was a little girl because of million reasons in the whatever environment in which I grew up. But now when I was able to start healing and start letting go of everything that was false, I discovered the fact that I'm creative. I discovered the fact that I'm artistic, that I have so many gifts and talents that never managed to come out. And every day that goes by, I come closer and closer to that authenticity that is my North Star. So I don't know if there is like a formula to it. The way I experience it today is that it's like it's a never-ending journey, and as long as this is the North Star and this is what we try to get to, we'll always be on track.
Very well said, Miss Natalini. Very well said. Why do so many people struggle with being authentic in today's world?
I feel like being authentic is actually terrifying until you start going in that direction and you realize that the fear is not real, is a fabrication of our mind. It's not really, there isn't really a threat. But I think what we perceive as a threat is that fear of being disliked, the fear of not belonging, the fear of being different, the fear of disappointing our family, our peers, our partners, spouses, children, whoever the immediate circles are. And so we go into this sort of like suboptimal version of ourselves, which is there adapting, it's there behaving in certain ways that are acceptable, that are, within the social norm, and that in a way for our mind and our ego feels safe. But in reality, that's actually quite dangerous. In reality, if only we would agree to face the fear of stepping out of the norm and discovering what is past that line. Who is that person? Who am I if I don't fit with everyone, if I'm not conforming to all of it? Who is that person? Once you sort of agree to feel the fear of not being within the norm, you realize that there's nothing scary. And as a matter of fact, there's only beauty and joy and freedom on the other side, because once we truly connect to our nature and our authentic selves, we become way more connected with everyone else. We become way more accepted by our immediate community and our friends and society as a whole, because once you're real, people can feel who you are and they can connect. You become magnetic, you become attractive, you become way more easier to connect with and to love, to respect, to admire. So I really believe that the fear is just the product of our imagination. It's not real. I mean, it's real as long we do feel it. I felt it too, but it's not. It can't harm. It really can't harm. And truly overcoming that fear is really probably one of the most loving thing a person can do for themselves.
Yes, indeed. Fear people sometimes make you something else. How important is self awareness in the journey toward authenticity?
Um, I honestly think self awareness is the key ingredient. It really is a game of awareness, after all. What brings us to authenticity is our awareness of being inauthentic, and I feel like the moment we become aware of a certain behavior or a certain pattern or a certain modus operandi, if you wish, that system falls off. It dissolves, because now our awareness has shed light on it and it can no longer control us. So really, there are so many practices in which we can develop and increase our self awareness, and this becomes truly the compass. This is the key ingredient for us to be able to arrive to the destination. Awareness is Without awareness, we're not really on track, I have to say.
So, Miss Natalini, can you explain how setting boundaries plays into living authentically?
Oh God, boundaries is such a big topic for me. As a person who actually suffered abuse as a child, I grew up as a people pleaser. I grew up as a person that had absolutely no notion of boundaries. I didn't even know what it meant up until 2 years ago. I would get myself in very toxic and unhealthy relationships, intimately speaking, not only professionally as well. And it was one of the biggest reasons was because I just didn't know how to put boundaries with people. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know when when enough is enough, when what is that line that cannot be crossed, and how to hold that line. And so once I started becoming more self-aware of that, and I started learning how to create and maintain my boundaries, my life became just so much more balanced. People around me became so much more comfortable with me, because now they know also what are my boundaries, and that gives them a sense of safety and direction as to how to relate with me in a better way. And of course, it's key to authenticity, because boundaries are natural. It's the most natural thing. We need boundaries in order to survive. Everybody's boundaries are different, although I would say there's some foundational boundaries that are the same for all of us. But I cannot be my authentic self if I'm not able to say no when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel out of integrity, when I feel attacked in a certain way, when I feel like something is off my own sort of center. Then I'm immediately falling in inauthenticity, and I'm coming out of integrity with my own self, and I lose the balance. So it was so difficult for me to really find that strength and to build that muscle of creating boundaries. I still struggle sometimes to this day to be able to voice it and express it and be firm but loving at the same time. But I really put a lot of effort and a lot of energy into supporting myself in creating healthier and stronger boundaries with everyone I love, everyone I connect with professionally, because this is truly the way to healthy life. And it's such a simple tool.
Yes. Very well said. Again, Miss Natalini, beautifully articulated. How can meditation, journaling, or reflection exercises support authenticity?
The topic of meditation is very hot right now, and it's been for some time. Everyone is practicing and becoming even more and more sort of engaged with that practice and that technique. I have observed something very interesting that's rather counterintuitive, and I'd love to share this with your audience. Meditation helps a ton. However, meditation can also be a way to avoid yourself and your pain and your true authentic self. Um, I would say probably 9 out of 10 times the path, or maybe 10 out of 10, the path to authenticity is paved with a lot of pain and a lot of suffering that we have stored in our early development age, and we are carrying with ourselves in our adult lives. So one of the things that really gets you into authenticity is shedding and releasing all that pain and all that suffering that's stored in your body, your mind, in your heart. And a lot of us avoid it. We avoid pain. We avoid suffering. We're programmed this way. Society teaches us to be this way. Our families teach us to be this way. Schools, everything. Everyone out there is telling us to not feel our feelings because it's bad. And so when you try to rewire that sort of programming and rewire your nervous system is that it's okay to actually feel your pain. It's a rocky process. We can get lost in the process. And one thing I observed that's very interesting is that meditation sometimes can be a way to sort of distract us from our feelings, a way to take us into that space of bliss and union with the one and oneness with everything. And of course, for those who really meditate in such profound way, and that state, of course, it's beautiful and it's real, and we need to be in that zone, and it's amazing. However, it can take us away from the actual pain that needs to be felt, and it can turn. We think it's a healing tool, but it can actually turn against us sometimes. And I've seen this with many, many people. So I think it's a beautiful practice, but it needs to be practiced with awareness. and mindfulness. And it's paradoxical because meditation brings awareness and brings mindfulness, but sometimes we can sort of use it in let's say in a rather unhealthy way.
Miss Natalini, as the CEO of high profile global, what are your short term and long term goals?
Um, my long-term goals are to stay true to myself, to stay true to what I believe in, to continue changing and evolving, to follow fear always, because fear has always taken me to all the right places. To be intimately related, connected to my feelings and my pain and my sorrow whenever it comes up, and to never lose that sense of integrity with myself. This is, let's say, a permanent, short-term, mid-term, long-term, a permanent goal. This is like the framework. Short-term goals, I'm at the moment in the midst of launching a few very exciting projects. I'm building actually 3 different companies at the same time. It's a very, very, very exciting time for me. I'm experiencing this beautiful creative expansion, which came after a lot of work on myself and a lot of processing of pain and trauma. One of the biggest gifts I got is this creative, like, really, really beautiful opening. So in the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months, my goal is to structure those companies, to partner with the right people, to get them off the ground, to start spreading the beauty that each one of these projects carries, and to stay true to myself while doing that.
Good luck to your goals, Ms. Natalini, and hoping for more success. And what would
Thank you.
you're welcome. So, what will be your advice for those people out there want to live authentically?
My advice to all of you, all of the listeners of your wonderful podcast, and everyone that's here with us today, is to not be afraid of fear. That's something that I always say. For me, my compass in this journey, the compass is what was and is fear, and the destination is freedom. So if you feel like you're afraid to start digging into your past and into your childhood, if you feel like you're afraid to go see a therapist because you don't know what's going to come up, and you're afraid that maybe it's going to break your relationship, or maybe you're going to have to quit that job or whatever, I promise you, it's only going to bring joy, beauty, and fulfillment in your life. But of course, it will require for you to go through a difficult phase before that. However, fear is only there to show us that there's something within us that needs and wants to grow, and the part of us that doesn't want to grow is afraid to let go. Once we shift our perception of fear and the way it's there to guide us and to grow us, I feel like we can really discover all the gifts that every single one of us carries within ourselves.
Well, Ms. Natalini, thank you so much for your advice. And can you recommend a book that influenced your journey?
Um, there's been so many books, frankly. I think a book that actually, yes, a book started that I started my journey with is it's very popular. Probably some of you have already read it, but this book really, really opened my eyes and triggered my entire process in a very big way. It's called The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle, and it talks about our ability to be present in the moment, our ability to rise above the noise of the mind and the ego, and all the fear and projection that the ego sometimes can create with regards to the past or the future, and reminds us that the only true moment is the moment we are in at right now, and everything else is an illusion. Of course, it's described and explained in a much more eloquent way than I summarize it right now, but I truly recommend this book. It's been an absolute revelation for me, and I still return and reread it sometimes.
Yes, indeed. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Highly recommended by Miss Natalini Joy. So, what is the relationship between authenticity and self love?
Oh, I mean, I have the feeling it's the same thing, to be honest, Daniel, because um, you need to love yourself in order to be authentic. You cannot, the inauthenticity comes from lack of self love. They're absolutely correlated, positively correlated. Like the moment your love for yourself grows, that's when you start becoming more authentic. What keeps us inauthentic is that fear and disbelief in ourselves, which comes from a place of lack of love, lack of trust, lack of, if I am who I truly am, will people love me? Will people like me? Will I be accepted? And because deep down we don't love ourselves enough, we feel like we need to put on a mask and put on an act and pretend and act and be someone else, because we just don't trust that the true self that we are is lovable, is likable, is acceptable, is belongs. So um, yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same thing, and uh, self love is the moment we start connecting to ourselves, to our inner child, to our the parts of us that are vulnerable, need attention, need love, need care, the parts of us that feel shame or hurt or pain or whatever, guilt or rage, even whatever emotion is kind of taking over our systems. Once we start giving these parts of us the love and the care they're yearning for, is when we can really come out of it and find that authenticity that each of us obviously carries. No one else can do it for us, Daniel. We're the only people that can actually give ourselves the love we're yearning for. And once we do, we can then start receiving love from the outside world as an additional, but the foundational love that we need in order to be authentic, in order to be free, in order to be joyful, in order to live in our maximum expression, this love is within us, and only I can give it to myself, only you can give it to yourself.
Again, Miss Natalini, very well said. What was the most powerful lessons you've learned personally about living authentically?
I had a very, very profound experience a month ago. I went to Africa and I sat with a very powerful plant medicine called Eboga. Eboga is a root plant coming from originally from Gabon, and it's a plant that's been cultivated and used for thousands of years from a tribe called the Bwiti. It's a Gabonese tribe, and the plant is a very, very powerful psychedelic. It's considered in a way the Everest of psychedelics. It really helps us sort of go very, very deep into our shadow, into our ego, into our fears, and all of that. And I learned a really powerful lesson a month ago. Actually, two very powerful lessons. If you allow me, I'll share both of them. The first one is that none of us is perfect. I am not perfect, and I will never be. All of us have a shadow, and all of us have ego, and all of us have the tendency to be, in one way or another, unkind to other people. And it's part of duality. It's part of the way we're built. I was able to see my ego and the way sometimes I judge people, the way I sometimes am dishonest with people. And it was a big lesson for me to understand that not only other people wrong me, but I wrong people as well sometimes. And I'm not the only one that's being hurt. I used to have this tendency of falling into victimhood and victimizing myself and thinking that everyone around me is bad, but I'm this pristine, I'm super like nice person that never does anything wrong. And realizing and learning that this is not the case was very, very big for me. But the bigger lesson that I learned, and I'm still actually in the process of learning, is really the lesson of forgiveness. Because once we start walking the path of authentic life, we come across a lot of ways in which people have hurt us in the past, and all the ways in which that pain has sort of shaped us, formed us, disformed us, and is now operating our lives in certain ways. And we can hold on to that. We can hold on to the blame. We can hold on to the grudge. We can hold on to the way we feel about those people. Most of the times, those people can be actually our parents, our siblings, and so on. Um, so really important relationships in our lives. And one thing that I learned thanks to Eboga and the Bwiti tribe is that actually the true healing comes with forgiveness. The true freedom that we're all searching for, the true authenticity, comes with forgiveness. And the hardest and the most important path that each of us hopefully will walk in their lives is the path of forgiveness, is the path of letting go, is the path of accepting and loving regardless. And I've been very, very, very deeply touched by this lesson, and it's something that I am embracing and learning how to live with every day.
Miss Natalini, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract poetry is already in fifth season. My abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry second season, book 101 review in its fifth season, comedy 101 in second season, food 101 in its fifth season, geography 101 and love letters are in third season, and my baby podcast Mental Health 101 and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Natalini, if someone feels completely disconnected from their true self, where they should start?
Um, I don't believe that there is one universal formula. I believe that everyone's journey is quite unique and looks differently. One thing that I think, however, can be universal for all of us is if you're really serious about becoming authentic, discovering who you truly are, and healing. The first thing that I would advise every person to do is to sober up. Quit alcohol, quit weed, start taking care of your health, start eating well, start giving yourself that love. If you are confused about what self love means, start with your body. Start with treating your body with love and respect. And I promise, I swear, the moment you lose the dependency or the how should I say, the sort of a haze of whatever it is, alcohol, cigarettes, weed, or whatever it is that one can be numbing themselves with. You start finding really incredible things about yourself, about your inner world,
Miss Natalini, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business itself?
Yes, so I would love to invite everyone to follow me on Instagram. My handle is just Natalini. I share things about my work, about my personal journey, about my creative endeavors, a lot of useful tips and ways in which we can stay true to ourselves. I'm also currently launching a very interesting platform. It's called Freedom Beach, and I gather inspiring and incredible individuals to talk about the power of freedom. You can find us on Instagram at My Freedom Beach. You can also follow us on LinkedIn at Freedom Beach. And our website is freedombeach.org. I would love to for you to follow our journey, to listen to our episodes, and if one day our paths cross, maybe you can attend our events in person.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Natalini Joy because if you support her, more and more and more empowering business to come. So, Miss Natalini, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And one thing I wanted to add, I see you have a podcast on poetry. I do write poetry myself, so maybe we can do this again on the topic of poetry.
Indeed, kindly book another episode with me. Miss Natalini, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. It was a pleasure.
Modicom people, see you soon. So, Miss Natalini, thank you so much. Keep in touch. Please do rebook again another episode for with me, and let's talk about poetry itself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Daniel. It was a pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.
Bye bye.